Hi everyone, my name is Michael Ozaki, and this is Three Questions, a time when we invite normal members of our community to come and sit down with us for what we call contemplative conversations through just three questions. This week, we sit with Zack, a man who you will notice from the very beginning jumps in real deep with the questions and wrestles with them very honestly. This is a mark of who Zack is. It is a mark of how his faith works, and it is a privilege to hear and listen with ears of grace for the still small voice of God speaking through him. I hope you do too. And so to begin, I'd like you to say your name, the words I am, and then continue to finish that sentence for the next minute without stopping.
My name is Zack, and I am a husband. I am a father. I am a musician. I am a photographer. I am a brother. I am a son. I'm a grandson. I am human. I am feeling very at peace. I am content. I'm resting. I'm ready. I am open.
And time. Tell me a time in which you were particularly aware of God's presence or God's actions.
I think the first time that I really had a sense for God's presence or participation was at the moment of my mother's death. I was 16 and I'd been called out of school. It was a Monday. It was the day after Easter. And I spent the day at the nursing facility where she was living at that time. She had been asleep and unresponsive for like 4 days before that. And I was just kind of hanging out. They called me out of school because I guess they thought it was close. And it was getting close to 7, and we were waiting for the priest to come. He was going to pray over her. And I remember playing my guitar down in the one end of the hallway, just kind of waiting. And then I was called, okay, we're ready. So we go back into her room, and surrounding her bed were the priest, my dad and my sister, my mom's parents, and my mom's 2 close friends. And the priest just started praying, and it was almost instant that she started to change. And in the middle of the prayer, she kind of sat up a little bit, opened up her eyes, and then she was gone. And it was such a profound moment for me to be able to hold my mom at the moment of her death. And I just remember thinking, how cool is that it wasn't until the most important people in her life were there praying over her that she died. So I guess when I think back, that's the first time that I ever thought maybe this God thing is real.
What do you think made that possible?
What made it possible?
Made it possible for you to experience it, or for that moment to happen?
Openness. I had to be open to the experience, I think. And I remember being that age and just kind of like pretty up for whatever, comfortable with whatever, comfortable with the uncomfortable. Had a lot of uncomfortable throughout my life growing up. So I guess I wasn't afraid of it. I embraced it. I just embraced what that moment was. I saw that it was absolutely beautiful. There was like an enormous sense of peace in me after that had happened.
Is there anything in particular that you think helped you to become someone who could be comfortable with the uncomfortable?
I don't know. I feel like if we've never been uncomfortable and just sat through it, we don't know how to sit through it. We run away from it. I think that's just a general human nature thing. And I think one of the things that I was really privileged to have so many challenging and uncomfortable times throughout my childhood and early adulthood. So I think it gave me that greater sense of everything, if that makes sense. One of my favorite saints is Saint Francis. Encountered God in nature. And I'm really drawn to nature as well. But Saint Francis wasn't always so connected. And there's this story of him riding into town every day, and he would have to ride on his horse past these lepers, which repulsed him more than anything else ever. And one day, he just was compelled to get down off of his horse and embrace one of the lepers. And that was like the transformation for him. I don't know if Francis knew like what got him off of that horse, but there was something. And so there's just this like spiritual gift in walking towards that which makes us the most uncomfortable, I think.
Whether it's loving your enemy or embracing a leper or
how about loving yourself?
Loving yourself. Well, even your story, I'm thinking just there's a lot of people who could not be there to embrace their mother. That would be too uncomfortable, too scary a thing.
Yeah.
You and I will change. You and I will change, but the blood is still the same. Showering the saints. Everything will break. Everything will break. If it's fire, if it's rain. Everything is grace.
How is God working on you in this season? Do you have any sense of how you're being invited or led?
I am feeling invited to really embrace my family.
What does that look like?
Well, I mean, it's tricky because there's the balance of self-care, doing the things that I want to do or need to do for myself. But really what it looks like, the biggest challenge of what it looks like is I have to do a lot of surrendering.
I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear that. I don't think anyone would see you as an absent father. So why do you think that hits you so hard?
I want to be able to be fully present when I'm with my kids, when I'm with my family. And all too often, I'm going through motions and I'm distracted by the things that I feel like I'd rather be doing or feel like I need to do or that I want to do or just to be alone. Because I really need my alone time. And it can be hard when kids are being difficult, when Alana's just screaming. That's what she does. She just screams. but it's hard to stay in that space and to stay present, I guess, and to not let it get the best of me, if that makes sense. But I think what I'm trying to say is, when you say what is my invitation for this season, I think one of them is to really work towards that balance of being present with my family, with my kids, and really enjoying them, and setting aside the things that I feel like I'd rather be doing. You can edit this out, but I'm not really exactly happy with that that answer to that question. I feel like I could have gone a couple different ways, and
It sounds like this is a perfect time to just sit with it then.
yeah.
And we'll give ourselves a little space and silence.
Okay.
Falling in faith, I still need you, Father. Trusting in this great unknown, I still need you, Mother. Comfort me until we're home. I still need you, sister.
What is your prayer for the world right now?
My prayer, and this does have to do with me, because I have to live with other people in the world, but my prayer is that more people can just find peace, in inner peace, like contentment. Just, they don't need to fight about, do all this work, extensive work and research to prove why they shouldn't have to wear a mask. Or to prove that they're not racists, or to be somebody that they're not. It's just to force things to happen in the way that we want it to happen. Like, I don't think that's a very peaceful way to live, or a very content way to live. Like right now, we're sitting in the rain. And some people, at the first drop, not that this is wrong, but they would just grab everything, pack it up, go inside, take cover. But why? The rain is comforting. It's not a bad thing. So that kind of peace, I guess, that kind of contentment.
Those were our 3 questions. So now I want to ask you, is there anything else that you would like to share to make this time more complete?
Can we do this more?
If I could, this is the only thing I would do.
Yeah. It's so hard. It's so hard. This gets back to the being a parent thing. I think part of the balance, it's so hard to find the space with these little kids to really just be like in this kind of, calm space. It's hard to be like contemplative when there are screaming children that are just flailing their arms and throwing food all over the place. And
It's true. Children are terrible contemplatives.
they are. And in a lot of ways can bring out the worst in me. So I don't know. This has been really nice. I would love to have more visits like this with you or whomever. This is good.
It's funny, even though we were joking about the fact that both of our children are terrible contemplatives, there's also this sense that, that the discipline doesn't grow unless there's people screaming around you that push against it. I'm not sure what good it is to be a contemplative if you're always in a place that is quiet and still and beautiful. And lastly, summarize what you've heard here in just a few words.
Be still. what I'm hearing.
Zack, thank you again very much.
Thank
Father, sister, brother, I believe we need each other.
Like, this is not working.
As soon as I heard the voice, I knew.
Hi, Mike.
In the best way. Biz, how are you?
Did we interrupt?
No, you're fine. Some things just need to be interrupted, huh?
We'll redo it. It was a boring story anyway.
True. Children are terrible contemplatives.